Hello, my artists. Mrs. Trotta here. To celebrate Avid Awareness Week and your bright future, let's take a look at some art careers. Art can prepare you for any career that requires fine motor skills, presentation skills, creative thinking, and an eye for finding the beauty in music, visual arts, dance, architecture, and literature. I know for me personally, art has taught me to be a problem solver and to sometimes look at something from a different perspective. There are so many different careers in art. Some you may have known of before, and some that may sound interesting and you may want to look more into in the future. I interviewed a few people that pursued careers in art. I asked them to share with you what their career is, what their job entails, and what they enjoyed doing when they were younger that made them want to pursue that career. Arranging and display. The art of taking objects such as food, flowers, objects, or art and arranging or displaying them in an aesthetically pleasing way.
Hi everybody! My name is Nikki Hodson and I am a local florist here in Palm Beach Gardens. And your teacher, Miss Trotta, asked me to come on here and talk to you guys about what it's like to be a florist. So, really quickly, I make, just in case you don't know what a florist does, I take flowers of all different kinds, and I tried to gather some to show you. They smell so good. These are roses, and I make pretty things out of flowers. So I'll have clients come to me for birthdays and weddings and all sorts of special events, and I will create things based off the colors that they want or a type of flower that they want. A little bit about my background. I went to college for fashion design and merchandising. So my background has always been in the arts. So naturally, I have always just been drawn to really pretty things. And flowers just happens to be the one thing that I find to be the most enjoyable when it comes to designing things. So that's what I went to school for. And a little bit about myself in terms of when I was little, what I was drawn to. I definitely loved flowers as a child. I was the daughter that probably would pick roses for my mom, or if we were, going for a walk, if I saw some wildflowers on the side of the road, I'd pick them and hand them to my mom. I was always drawn to, like I said, just really pretty, vibrant things. And then as I got older and I went to college, this was sort of, flowers was what I became the most drawn to in the sense of what I wanted to do after I graduated college. So I opened my own business, and it's called Boho Garden Crowns and Events, and I launched my floral business. So hopefully this helps explain to you what a florist does, and if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask Miss Trotta, and she can reach out to me. And make sure, I always tell my kids, I have an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old, to always stop and smell the flowers. So anytime you see a pretty flower, make sure you lean down and smell it. Okay, guys, have a wonderful week, and thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Photography. Using a camera to capture people, places, animals, and objects for advertising, pleasure, or to capture life's special moments. Spatial design. Are careers such as architecture, landscape architecture, and interior design which focus on the flow of people through interior and exterior environments.
Hi, I'm an architect, and I guess you could say it started in a room just like this. This is my wood shop. Here I work on little projects like a birdhouse, maybe even a tree house. But the fun thing about here is not only building things, but here's where I start to plan things out. I use a sketchbook. Do you have one? Maybe that's a fun thing to play with. I draw things out, I try to figure them all out, and then I go into my wood shop and build. Or maybe that's why I became an architect, because just like my sketchbook for woodshop projects, here in my office, we design buildings, houses and buildings, and I'll show you a couple of that we're working on. This is a church that we're adding in a big addition to. Here's a community center where we rebuilt the building and made it special for them. Here's an office building. And here's another project that we're working on, and that's an apartment building. The fun thing about being an architect is not only designing the building and making all the drawings and building the models, but then it's helping the builder work on it. Another thing that's fun for me about being an architect is I'm able to actually work right here in my home. And I work with a couple others, and one of them is my son, Phil. He's also an architect. Well, we hope that someday you'll become an architect, and the best way to start, have some fun with a sketchbook.
If you're interested in being an architect, a great children's book to check out is Iggy Peck Architect by Andrea Beatty. She also wrote one called Rosie Revere Engineer that you should also check out. Graphic design, the art or skill of combining text and pictures in advertising, magazines, or books. Fashion and textiles. Textiles means material made by weaving, knitting, knotting, crocheting, or bonding. Careers in fashion focus on popular trends. Next, we have Kristen, who has 2 companies that she started and owns. Garbage Gone Glam, where she takes what others may consider as garbage and creates fashionable clothing to promote environmental awareness and a different way of advertising for companies.
Hi guys, my name is Kristen Elise. I am a fashion designer and professional artist. My company is Vivre Couture and Garbage Gone Glam. And I paint bow ties, purses, and canvases all the time. Dresses, shoes. It's a really fun company that I got to create and I get to work for all the time. And yeah, it's just really fun for me. So I get to hand paint on all kinds of different things, and I work with different artists from all over the world. Since I was a little girl, I was always making doll clothes or painting things or creating things. I love to create. Anytime I get to make something from nothing, I love to do that. So keep doing it, keep dreaming, keep creating, do whatever you want to do, and know that you can create your own company or do some really cool art-worthy things in life and around the whole world and work for different companies. So be you and be creative, whatever you want to do. Thanks, guys.
Entertainment and digital design are animators, illustrators, and designers who use technology or digital design to create their illustrations, websites, movies, shows, videos, and video games for entertainment. Fine arts is a very broad category of careers, but to name a few, we have spray painter, cartoonist, printmaker, potter, screen printer, and mural artist.
Hi kids, I'm a potter. A potter makes pottery, either using a wheel, which is that thingy down there, or their hands. That's either wheel throwing or hand building. And you can make all kinds of things. I mostly make dishes for people and coffee mugs and plates and stuff like that. And I have my own business called Avenue Pottery. I love working for myself. I love making my own hours, and I work in my backyard, so it's really convenient. I have a little studio behind my house. I didn't start doing pottery till I was 35, so it's never too late to switch careers. Before that, I was a science teacher, so you never know where life's gonna take you.
Publication design, the practice of layout and graphic design for printed matter. It's also people who use words and art, such as authors and illustrators, to convey their message or information. Another book recommendation that I have that has to do with art careers is called The Crayon Man, The True Story of the Invention of the Crayola Crayons by Natasha Bebo. Check it out. It's a wonderful story about an inventor or designer.
Rubin, inventor, entrepreneur. Ever since I was little, I used to make up games, put things together, take them apart, make up toys, play with my brother in our room for hours. Then I went to college, became an industrial designer, and started inventing for the toy industry, medical devices, semiconductor equipment, and now I'm working on a piece of equipment for the food industry. It's great to watch people react to the things you create.
3D product design. Designers and inventors and artists who create three-dimensional products. And up next we have Holly Webb from MADE, who is a big supporter of weavers and other artists who make three-dimensional products.
Hey, so my name is Holly Webb and I am Mrs. Trotta's cousin. I live in Williamsburg, Virginia, and my job, I actually own my own business. My business is called MADE, and we sell ethically made and fair trade goods from artisans all around the world. And so what I do is I work with small businesses or small artisan groups in different countries all around the world, and I buy their beautiful things. They're gorgeous handmade quality things, and I make sure that we pay them fairly and that they're being provided for in a really beautiful way. And then I bring their things back and I sell them here in the United States, and then I share the stories of all of the artisans with the people that are buying the products. So we really believe that the story matters. The story behind what we're buying matters. And when I was a little girl, my family lived in Korea, and my mom is a big shopper, and she would take us to the markets. She would take me to the markets a lot, and she always did a beautiful job of just supporting people and finding artisans that were making gorgeous handmade things. And she would buy a bunch of them, whether it was pottery or baskets or different home goods or clothing. And then she would ask questions and she would learn about the story, and then she would pass it out and sell it and share it with her friends. Not sell it, she would just share it with her friends. And I really watched my mom do that as a little girl, and I think that really helped to instill in me just a value for the arts, a value for things being handmade, and a value for artisans and people behind what we're buying. So it's really important that the artisans and the makers are being cared for and are being paid properly, and that their stories are being told alongside with what we're selling. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers a little bit about what we do and the story behind why we do what we do.
Art education and support for artists. Besides being a teacher, there's also art therapists, art supply retailers, and art agents.
Hi, my name is Karen Noble. I'm the owner of Kids Need More Art in Jupiter, Florida, and also we do programs at the Pine Jog Environmental Education Center. I want to just tell you a little bit about how we started and give you a sneak peek of our studio. Come on in. Your fabulous art teacher asked me to talk about how I got a career in art owning my own studio. And believe it or not, I did not take my first art class until I was in college. When I was younger, I loved theater and I loved singing, but I never did formal art classes until I started studying for teaching. And I fell in love with it right away. After I became an art teacher, what I really wanted to do was spend more time with children than just an hour or 45 minutes at a time. I wanted to really just make it a whole day, a whole after-school program, and that's what I did. And I started this studio 12 years ago at Pine Jog and summer camp only, and I've been doing art now in my own studio for 9 full-time years. I love what I do, and I think more than anything, I love to be creative every day, and I really love being my own boss and making my own hours, having more time for my family, and just working with a really amazing team of teachers and interns from the art schools, and just collaborating every day to make children really happy and to make them grow as their own artists. There are so many things you can do in the career world, in art education, and so never be afraid to follow what you want to do and your passion. Thanks so much.
Remember in our first lesson online, we talked about artists and designers having a positive impact on our community. Maybe someday you will be an artist or designer positively influencing our community as well. A special thank you to all of our guests today on our lesson on art careers.